Hey, I'm Adam Jusko, and this is Stock Screamer. Cannabis company Cronos Group is getting a huge investment from big tobacco company Altria. 45% stake Altria is taking, and we are going to talk about it. But before we do that, I would ask you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already, and if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So, cannabis company Cronos Group is getting a huge investment and vote of confidence from the big tobacco company Altria. Altria is taking a 45% stake, paying $1.8 billion in US dollars, 2.4 billion Canadian. Cronos Group is a Canadian company. And they also have the option to up their stake to 55% of the company, investing more money in within the next 4 years. So it's pretty big news here to have, another major company that has experience sort of in the adult product market, I guess you could say, getting into the cannabis area. The old line company that has, obviously the huge past in cigarettes, has very deep pockets. So, a lot of these companies that are in the cannabis industry right now, the ones that are public, fairly small companies, even if their stock prices might not necessarily reflect that. So to get a huge infusion of cash like this is, a great thing, not only because it gives them the cash, but it also gives them the expertise to have, a company that has gone through all the regulatory situations that Altria has over the years with cigarettes. So there's not anything probably that's going to happen, in the future of the cannabis industry that isn't going to be something somewhat similar to what has already been seen in the cigarette industry. So, when you get into the legalities and the regulatory issues that are probably going to happen, it is pretty nice to have a company behind you that has already done it. And actually, over time, Altria may become the major shareholder or majority shareholder, and essentially, own the company, even if they don't own the whole thing. So obviously, the cannabis industry overall is going to boom over the next 5 to 10 years. The question is, how long is that going to take? I mean, obviously, we're seeing more and more legalization in more U.S. states, more countries. So there's obviously going to be a boom, but the question is, which of these companies sort of have the staying power to, take advantage of it. And so when you see the money coming in from these bigger companies, just like Constellation Brands just did a huge investment in Canopy a little while back, you see those are the companies that you have to think. Maybe those are the ones to bet on more than some other companies, because they're going to need the money, number one, but they also are going to need the expertise of these other companies in order to, really kind of go to market on a wide scale. A lot of these companies are smaller companies that aren't, they're not used to working, on the larger scale that it's going to take when the cannabis industry really blows up and you have it legalized everywhere, which, I think that is a, that's just a rock rolling down the hill in terms of the fact that the legalization is going to happen everywhere. The question is, how long is that going to take? Who can outlast it in terms of, staying around long enough to be there when the legalization happens everywhere? And obviously, with this infusion of cash, the investment that Altria has made in Cronos Group, you have to think that they are one of the players that is going to stick around for the long haul, along with Canopy and along with some of the others as well. So huge news in terms of, investing, both in the short term and the long term. Huge industry to invest in. Whether you need to jump in now, I mean, some of the, some of the excitement of investing in this industry, I think, has already gotten baked into the prices of some of these stocks. They can't really sort of justify the stock prices that some of them have. The nice thing about Cronos is their stock price isn't all that high right now. They jumped from, between 8 and 9, I think it was, up to, over 12 with this news. But you have to think they're going to kind of come back down to earth in the same way that Canopy did after Constellation put their big investment in. So Canopy is essentially, kind of sitting where they were before that investment happened. So it was sort of a, you got the big hump of excitement, and then you went right back down to where things were. So I think that this industry obviously is going to have some volatility, and there are going to be plenty of opportunities for short-term traders. If you can guess right as to what's going to happen next, and kind of keep your ear to the ground and know when big news is coming up. But in terms of when the big gains are, I think this is the industry overall is a long-term play. I don't know that, with prices where they are at right now, I don't know that getting in right now, is all that necessary versus getting in, I don't know, 6 months from now or whatever. So the question is, how long do you want to tie up your money? Do you believe that there's really a catalyst for things to go much higher in the short term? I don't necessarily think there are. When you have these companies making these big investments, they're doing it from a very long-term perspective. They have money, first of all, to tie up because they have so much excess money from their main businesses. So obviously they have the money to tie up, and they're thinking about, where's our business going to be in 20 years? They're not thinking about where's my portfolio going to be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years or whatever. So if you're someone that gets into the cannabis industry, as a long-term investor, you may be waiting a while before you really get the returns. But I think overall, you're going to see returns that are better than the market as a whole. So that's it. I would love to hear your comments below if you have any to give. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.